Whether the fate of man is predestined or he himself is the architect of it is a question that scholars of all time have argued about, search for the answers, and try to give different explanations for it. This question is very important for every one of us because we always find our life oscillating between destiny and free will. So in this video, let's try to understand what role destiny and free will plays in our life. Let's begin by looking at different aspects of our life. There are so many things in our life that we did not choose. Like, you didn't choose the place you were born to. You came into this world, and when you were grown enough to understand, you just realized that this is your home. You didn't choose the color of your skin, you were born with it. The parents you were born to, the language you learn as a child, the way your brain works, many other qualities of your mind and body are the things that you had no hand in creating in your life. So we can say that these type of things were your destiny and you were powerless in determining any of these. As you moved along in your life, there were some events that happened in your life that you had no intention of creating in your life, but they just happened to you and changed the course of your life forever, for good or bad. So we can say that you were destined to experience those events. However, when we look around us, there are so many things in our world that were created by humans through the use of their free will. For example, the device on which you are watching this was created by someone through the use of their free will. From some very small to some very big things in our life depends upon the choices we make through the use of our free will. Like the place you live in, the car you drive, the relationship you have, the work you do, the books you read are all done by the use of your free will. Now let's look at the other side of it. Let's say you had to attend a meeting, you get ready at the right time, you left from your house at the right time, and you had no intention of not being able to attend the meeting at the right time. That's all the work of your free will. But then you get on the road, and after reaching a fair distance, you find yourself stuck in a traffic jam and couldn't get to the meeting at the right time. So that can be considered part of your destiny. Another example of that would be the time when you decided to go on a vacation. You had all the preparation, but on that day the weather got so bad that you couldn't even move out of your house. So from all these examples, we can clearly see that destiny and free will goes hand to hand, which means we can simply say that we are neither completely bound to destiny nor do we have an absolute free will. The word destiny comes from the Latin verb destinare, which means to make firm or to establish. It gives us a sense of something that has been firmly established and sure to come true. Destiny simply refers to a future or an outcome that results from a predetermined or inevitable course of events. Destiny is something that involves what is going to happen, what has to happen, and what is meant to happen. So, if a certain future is said to be someone's destiny, then it means that it is predetermined to happen, or that it must happen. To understand it in simple terms, think of the Avengers movie series. In the first Iron Man movie, they tried to kill Tony Stark, and he could have died in that blast. But he didn't. Because it was his destiny to become Iron Man and save the universe from Thanos.
And I am Iron Man.
So, in movies, the scriptwriter determines the destiny of a character. But who determines the destiny of a person in his life? We'll talk about that later, but for now, let's look at the word free will. Free will simply means the ability to choose between different possible course of actions without any compulsion. It means the ability to act without the constraint of fate or necessity. Free will gives us the ability to choose so many things in our life, like the relationship we have, the food we eat, the games we play, the people we love, the words we speak, the goals we set, etc., are all done by the use of free will. So, if our life is predestined, then the concept of free will seems like an illusion, which doesn't really exist. It just appears that we have a free will, just like the characters in the movie. However, if we have a free will, then the concept of destiny doesn't seem to fit, because we can change our destiny by using our free will. So, to clearly understand it, we have to dig a little deeper into it. The first thing you need to understand is the true nature of reality. There is a field of energy and information that exists within us and all around us, and the reality that we can perceive through our physical senses are excitation in this field. To understand the field in simple terms, think of it as a calm body of water like a pond or a lake. When you throw a pebble in it, it produces ripple. That ripple is the excitation in the water. It's part of the same water but appears to be separate from the rest of the water. In the same manner, the field is like the water, and the reality that we perceive through our physical senses is like the ripple in the water. And just like the ripple, the reality is constantly changing and moving ahead, which we call growth. For example, the growth of a plant. Now, just like a pebble had to be thrown in water in order to produce the ripple, there must be a force or power to cause the excitation in the field for physical reality to exist. So, the force that causes the excitation in the field is the consciousness, and the act of consciousness observing the field with an intention is equivalent to throwing the pebble in the water. Now, there are two types of consciousness that are causing the excitation in the field. The first type of consciousness is the consciousness of the field itself, which is known as the universal consciousness, the divine consciousness, or simply the God. The universal consciousness is the first cause. It is the field and the observer of the field at the same time. It is 100% evenly present in all places at all times. It has an absolute free will. As it wills something to be, it instantly comes into being. So, all the reality that we can perceive through our physical senses and everything that exists in the universe are actually the manifestation of its will. And that's why the scriptures teach that not even a single leaf falls without God's will. The second type of consciousness is the human consciousness, which is the individualized expression of the universal consciousness that exists in the field to experience the reality created by the universal consciousness. As an individual human consciousness observes its reality and projects its intention in the field, it creates its own excitation in the field, which manifests as its personal reality. So we can say that human consciousness is an extension of the universal consciousness. To understand it in simple terms, think of it as a movie. In a movie, there is a creator of the movie who decides everything. And then there are characters who observe the world of his imagination, project their intention in it, experience different emotions in it, take actions which creates further events that they experience. But ultimately, the final outcome is always depend on the will of the creator of the movie. In the same manner, the universal consciousness is the creator and designer of all of reality. We, as human consciousness, observe its creation, project our intention in the field, experience different emotions in it, take actions which creates further events in our life. But ultimately, how the reality is going to unfold itself always depends upon the will of the universal consciousness. Now, if this statement is true, then it seems like we only have an illusion of a free will, not actual free will, and our life seems to be predestined. The concept of human responsibility becomes meaningless if he doesn't really have a free will, because if you walk off of a roof and break some bones in your body, can't blame that to destiny because nobody or nothing forced you to make that choice. It was your responsibility to take care of where you are putting your feet. So the obvious truth is that man is neither the master of his fate nor is he bound to blind law of predestination. We have been given a limited autonomy according to which we can do or not do certain things, and that's why we are responsible for certain things that happens in our life. But we cannot completely control everything that happens in our life. Now, as I said earlier, the reality is not made up of matter, rather it is an expression of a field of energy. And in this field, infinite potential realities exist as possibilities in the form of infinite frequencies of vibration. Everything that you can imagine achieving in your life is actually a potential reality in the field. Now, you must have heard about the law of attraction, which says that if you hold an image of something in your mind that you want to have in your life and feel as if you already have it, you begin attracting it in your life. But how and when it will happen, you cannot really know until it happens. So what actually happens during this process is that you choose a potential reality in the field. You project your intention of creating a physical equivalent of that reality in your life. As you begin visualizing, you begin to feel the emotion of that potential reality, which begins to change the energy of your body. And once the energy of your body matches the energy of that potential reality, that reality begins to unfold or manifest itself in your life. Now, the important thing to understand here is that all potential realities that exist in the field exist simultaneously. The concept of time as past, present, and future only exists in the three-dimensional reality. But when it comes to the field, there is only one time, which is now. So all the realities that exist as potential realities exist in the eternal now. Dr. Joe Dispenza wrote about it in his book Becoming Supernatural. It is a profound and unique way of looking at your life. He talks about space-time and time-space concept of reality. Read this book and you will begin to look at your life with a different perspective. So, if all possibilities exist simultaneously, then it means that what is going to happen also exists in the field. If it's true, then it means the future already exists. But it doesn't exist as a predetermined set of events that are going to unfold one by one the way it happens in a movie. Rather, it exists as a set of open possibilities. You can think of your future as a script of a movie and your life as the shooting of that movie. As the shooting goes on, the changes can be made according to the performance you give. If your performance doesn't improve, then it will go on as it is going without any improvement in your life. But as your performance improves, the importance of your character improves. So does the script of your character. Because in this script, there are infinite possibilities for every character. Now, the other thing to understand here is that there are some events that are designed by the universal consciousness that are going to happen. We cannot do anything about it. But how much those events would affect our life would depend on how we respond to those events when they make their appearance. A good example for that would be coronavirus pandemic. So, we cannot always control what's going to happen in our life. There are some things that are going to happen and we cannot do anything about it. That's what I would like to think of as destiny. However, we can always control how we are going to respond to what happened. That's what I would like to call free will. Now, another way to look at destiny and free will is that destiny is like a big river that's flowing in one direction. And your life is like a boat that's floating in that water. You are sitting in that boat with a pedal. That pedal is like your free will. By using the pedal, you can choose where and how your boat floats in the river. But you cannot use it to move in the opposite direction of the stream of the river. There would be times when the boat would meet unexpected winds and bumps in the rocks. But as long as you use your paddle intelligently, you can always bring back your boat to the water where it floats freely without needing much effort from you. And you can enjoy the ride. In the same manner, your life will always flow in the direction of your destiny. But by using your free will, you can choose how it is going to go in that direction. And the ultimate destiny that we all have is death. We're all going to die one day. That's a common fate to us all. But who would we become when that happens depends upon the choices we make through the use of our free will. We can say that destiny and free will are like two sides of a coin. If you only have one side, it makes the coin worthless. In the same manner, destiny and free will both are necessary for life to have a meaning. If you like the information that I shared with you through this video, subscribe this channel and share this video. Thank you very much.